What is good, y'all? Welcome to Let's Cap. I'm your host, Ronald, also known as Youcapper Sports on Twitter at Youcapper Sports. Sorry, at Youcapper Sports on Twitter, Youcapper Sports on Sportsmemo.com. It looks like I'm be going solo today. I sent the link out to the usual suspects as far as who typically shows up on the show, but looks like everyone's busy today. So I'll be going through a few of the games today. I didn't go into super detail in a couple of them, but some of them I did. We'll go through the ones that I did first, and then maybe do one of the games live capping, just kind of going through without even doing any research prior to that, just going off of memory and things. But this weekend, I didn't actually play anything yesterday on Sunday. On Saturday, I did go positive on Saturday through overall MMA. I have obviously the UFC card and the NBA together. I haven't played college basketball in a little bit, but it looks like when the my systems are going to start popping up pretty soon here when it comes towards the national championship tournament. So I'll be playing college basketball again when that starts. Other than that, I haven't been doing any conference plays, but I'm gonna be going through the first game here. Let's go. Oh, actually, you know what? Jay is here. What up, Jay? Hey,
Bro, I'm
man.
still I'm still trying to collect myself, bro. That shit,
Hey,
I need to get
the
loud.
reason it's funny because there's some viewers in here, but the reason why I'm late is because we was in the chat room in our Twitter DMs talking about Jay's show earlier, and obviously Rob went off today, and
Oh boy.
I did a little video edit. Yeah, I'll text you that video edit, Jay, and then I'll let you post it. That shit was funny as hell. But yeah, thanks for popping in here today.
Yeah,
What do you got? What do you got going on today? Did you have a lot of plays today, or are you kind of just going through
I
the
didn't,
card?
bro. I'll be honest. I don't really like the card. I like some plays that I want to make, man. I'm just trying to, man. It feel like I had just smoked or something. That's how hard I'm laughing over here, man. But um, I actually make some plays where I got a lot of leans, nothing super strong. I like to bet stuff that I absolutely love. You know what I'm saying? And so today, some tricky type of games. There's a spot tomorrow though that I'm gonna be on probably pretty heavy, to be honest with you. The team that I think is basically giving up on the season, my guy. But
Yeah,
for today, I want to get there with Mavs first quarter, first half. I just need Kyrie in there. I messaged this motherfucker on Twitter, all that. Tell him, man, come on, bro. This is an ESPN game. We need your ass. Come on, don't start that
you for
that
real message
Brooklyn
him
Nets
on
stuff.
Twitter?
Bro, I mean, I know he ain't gonna reply, but still, I sent this. I seen his DM was open. Man, get your ass in the game, bro. I told him, I know you just lost a family member. Play for your family member. Like you got to come out here and play, my guy. So,
So you
yeah, I
said
like
Dallas,
Mavs
Dallas
earlier.
early, right?
Yeah, I think that's the spot today, bro. We know the Grizzlies not good on the road, man.
Yeah, I was looking at. Did you have any? Oh, you don't mess with totals, but I was looking at the over in this game here.
Yeah,
I think
Rob was too. Rob
was
was
he?
too.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
it. Because I think obviously Grizzlies, obviously they haven't been super consistent offensively, but I think the Mavericks have been struggling defensively. I think this might be a bounce back spot as far as like the Grizzlies um playing offense. I know they won the first game, but it seems like this total here moving up from 224 and a half, sorry, 221 to 224 and a half. It's probably
Mhm.
telling us a story here that this is gonna go a little bit over. I think Grizzlies are putting together an offense. Mavericks continue to struggle defensively here. Uh I can only look towards the over.
I
That's the
need
only way that I
Kyrie
can
in
go.
there.
I'm not gonna. I don't know if I can mess with the spread, but maybe we can find something to support the Mavs early here.
I need Kyrie in there for that over for sure. As
So
I
we
know the
go
put.
early. It looks like that. Are you talking about first quarter?
Yeah. I'm leaning Mavs first quarter, first half. I know the Grizzlies are a good first half team, but not necessarily on the road. Like I said, they're just a team that plays a lot different with the energy from the home crowd. Now things shift here with the Mavs in the revenge spot. And we can't forget the Grizzlies had revenge in that last game as well. They got smacked versus the Mavs in the first game of the season, like by 40 some points. I was on the Mavs in that game. In that one. So I do think this is a bounce back spot for the Mavs. They heard what Dylan Brooks been talking. You see what I'm saying? They almost won the last game even without Kyrie. I just
Yeah.
feel like this is a Mavs type of spot. I don't want the Grizzlies on the road, especially in a tight type against. Definitely not laying points on the road.
Munaf, don't even start that here, bro.
There you go, man.
Here we go. I'm trying to find where we can find a spot to take them at. I think it's this revenge angle here. Mavericks and revenge angles. Looks like they do start off early, pretty good, pretty early. in these games. It has been a while since they had a revenge game, not with Kyrie. Also, obviously, Luca possibly being out here. He's confirmed. I mean, from what I
Yeah,
heard,
Luca's
he's
out.
confirmed out.
Luca's out
So,
for sure.
but yeah, for sure, I think I would probably take the Mavs if Kyrie is in there. I think they're going to be able. It's one of those things where, obviously the injury replacement theory or key player out theory comes into play here, especially if Kyrie plays. I think they should be able to take care of business in that aspect. I think Grizzlies, but for me, I think the better play is the over in my book. I just trust them to do that part. I think pace of
I see.
play, right? I mean, with Kyrie, ever since Kyrie joined, pace of play for the Mavs has gone up. Their defense has struggled.
Yeah, and Luca slows down the pace a ton as well. So I feel like those few games that we got Kyrie without Luca, them
Yeah,
shits was the Mavs played really good and they were flying over the toe as well. The Mavs played really fast with just Kyrie. Kyrie and Luca. Remember, Luca's gonna have the ball in his hands, step back three, slowing up the pace. But just Kyrie, they were fully on board with pushing the hell out of place. If Kyrie plays in this one, it's going over for sure. And I will be betting that one for sure. Hopefully he plays, man. ESPN game. You got to get your ass out there.
so they're 2-0 straight up and against the spread with Kyrie Irving and without Luca. And look at that first quarter split. They're winning. I mean, it's only 2 games, right? Obviously, the Clippers were struggling at that time, but they did beat the Kings. They're up. They scored 43 average between those 2 games and allowed 25. So they definitely are starting those first quarters off. I'm gonna be there with you. Maybe that first quarter Mavs if Kyrie is in, for sure. I think that's gonna be the way to go there.
And the line shouldn't flip too much either. It's +1.5. If Kyrie plays, it might go like -1 for the Mavs, maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, -1's nothing when you think they're gonna
Right.
win by margin in that first quarter.
Right.
I like that look. I'm about to add that to my angles. One thing that I was looking at from a prop perspective was Jaren Jackson under his rebounds and assists. So if I looked at it, I brought up Edge House here, looking at rebounds and assists, and if we put the order going into like where the position ranking, where the fuck did it go? Is this rebounds and assists? Yeah, rebounds and assists here. Jaren Jackson. So they're one of Mavericks. Mavericks are one of the worst matchups for the rebounds and assists. Jaren Jackson's numbers at 8.5. He's only gone over in one of the last 7. And average wise, he's pretty close. But if you look at like his opportunities, he's he gets like 14 opportunity rebounds per game, but he's only grabbing less than half of them. So he's averaging about, that's why he's averaging about 7.5. But he only gets like an assist and a half of potential assists per game too. So he's not getting a lot of those. So that's the reason why I was looking towards this under 8.5 rebounds and assists, because you're basically saying he's going to get 9 rebounds, and I don't think that's going to happen against the Mavs here. Especially if we're looking at it over, we're going to see some made shots, great shooting percentage from both teams, no rebounding opportunities. So that's the one prop look that I was looking at. Other than that, I like the over, and then like you said, I think if Irving is in there, for sure that's going to be the bet. Also, that first quarter.
Yes,
Another one that I was looking at here. Did you have anything on any of the other games, Jay? I didn't see
Oh,
my fucking banners yet.
let me see. I wanted to look at he. I mean, I know the SDQLs, they're not gonna like this spot because it's not something that you can really quantify. But
The home favorite.
no, the Jazz coming in here, they live in Utah and they got a day off in Miami. That's type of shit that you can't really quantify, but that's my angle on the game. Jazz, it is the last game. I mean, you can't quantify the last game of a 6-game road trip. I know that teams probably usually always run out of gas in that one, but I feel like even early in this one, this should be the spot here for the Heat. I wouldn't look at the games they've played like it's this 30 game in 4 nights, 4th and 6 and all that, but most of those games were at the house. They were at the house for 6 straight games, so they hadn't had to. And the game they did travel, it was just down there to Orlando, so the Heat have been in the state of Florida for, you know what I'm saying? They hadn't really had any real travel plans in that one. I just feel like this is a game where this can really get out of hand. We know the Jazz have been beating up on these lesser teams, but that day off in Miami really has in my head somebody hit the strip club, Ronald. I'm telling you that right now. Somebody went to hit the strip club. Somebody out on the beach drinking martinis, pina coladas, all that shit, man. So I feel like this is a Heat bounce back type of spot in this one. I think the Jazz could really get smashed in this spot.
Yeah, I mean it's tough to take all these trends from a full season perspective when the motivation is different from early on in the season, right? Because the
Hmm.
Jazz, they're not the same team as prior to the All-Star break. Even before that, probably like before the new year, they're a lot different than they are now. Same thing with the Heat. They have a lot of there's a sense of urgency on their side here. They
Hmm.
have it. I mean, if we look at like consistently as far as prior to the year as well, like December and on. They haven't been covering in that home favorite situation, but they have won three of their last. They won three in a row as home favorites. They also covered in two of the last three. This one they failed to cover by the hook, so it seems like they're turning things around as far as
Hmm.
that home favorite situation. So I mean, to me, it seems like that is the spot. Also, there's not a lot of motivation on that Jazz side.
Right.
They're I don't. I think the line is minus 7.5 for a reason, and I think it has to do with that travel situation, right? Like,
Hmm.
like you mentioned, 7.5 or six straight road game, and then they're gonna head home. A
Hmm.
lot of the trends not looking in our direction as far as supporting the Jazz there, but that's probably the only way that I could look as well. One thing that we could look at, were you looking at them early or just like full game?
To be honest, like I said, I hadn't bet this yet, but I do think this could be a spot or a Heat trifecta spot. We know Jimmy Butler's pissed off. He walked off the court the last one, but they really weren't supposed to win that game, in my opinion. Magic, they had been beating up on little brother Magic. Magic had the rest advantage in that one, so I don't think the Heat should be too pissed. I mean, they were due for a letdown coming off their Cavs win as well. So we know the Heat are pissed off here. We know that the Jazz are coming off two straight wins, day off in Miami. Like I say, I just think this could be one where the Heat come out here with emphasis in the first quarter, get up to about 5 or 6 points, and then just build the lead
Yeah.
as the game goes on. That's how the trifecta is supposed to work, where you come out, build a nice little lead in the first quarter, and literally don't let it go for the rest of the season. It doesn't hadn't really been working out so far this season that way, but this is the type of game where I feel like the Heat should cash a trifecta here.
No, so this one here is that road dog situation. Their next game is at home. That's consistent with what the Jazz are today.
Hmm.
Initially, I looked at when they had four straight road games prior to this, and you can see that first quarter margin. Like what you mentioned, like that 5 6 points, right here. It's about
Hmm.
four, but if you add to the another road game there, pretty spot on right there. 5.8 margin. So I think that's the way to go here. I mean, obviously the full game perspective is a little bit different. 7.5 is like a funky number, and you can see
Hmm.
on the season that margin is pretty close to there. But that
Yeah.
first quarter is where the huge gap is as far as taking the favorite in that road dog situation. So I think if you were to take anything, it would probably be the Heat first quarter in that spot.
Makes sense. And if the Jazz coming in here drunk, then that first quarter is gonna be the one where they, you know what I'm saying, they not. And one thing we should do as well, like I mean, and it makes perfect sense just from a like we play basketball, right? When you're on the sixth straight game of a road trip, you've been playing in a new arena every single game, right? So it takes time to get used to the atmosphere, the goals, the crowd as well. So it makes perfect sense to fade a team, and like that's something I've been doing lately, taking a lot of first quarters. The Heat first quarter should be a look here. Obviously, it didn't help that they coming off the overtime game, but still, the sixth straight game on the road, you want to fade teams in the first quarter in that spot. I feel like that's a spot that teams fade in the first quarter a lot.
Yeah, I like that look. I think that might be something to dive deeper into. But that first quarter look for Miami, I feel like it makes sense.
Hmm.
I
I
don't
think
have
I
anything
think I'm
else
gonna
on
get
that
there.
game, like from a prop perspective. But I would likely stay away from that full game spread.
Yeah, I ain't
Um,
fucking with this shit.
from a total perspective, this might be one of those over games as well. I know a lot of trends would probably look towards the Heat under.
I think
Um,
Chris liked the over, Ronald. Not to
he
cut
did.
you off. I think I watched this show this morning. I'm pretty sure he was on because he was saying how Jazz been ads on the defensive end lately, which they're not really supposed to. Really, with Kessler down there, I feel like there was a time where Kessler and Marketing were defending the rim really good, but it's probably more of their perimeter defense. But regardless, the defense has been ass. I know I heard Chris say for sure that he's taking the over in this one.
He is taking over. Okay. Well, I mean, looking at this one from an average perspective, it is 231, 231.3, and we're seeing a 226 total here. On average, it looks like the Jazz going from a road game to a home game. It should be the overlook. If we look at that situation here, they've gone over in 5 of the last 6. This one, obviously, the Grizzlies, they've been struggling offensively, so that's one thing to note on this one on probably why they went under. And this was right before the All-Star break as well. So they were really struggling at that time. I mean, pace of play, the fact that Jazz don't play any defense makes a lot of sense for the over here. If we just look over at the Heat real quick, do you have your Bet US show?
No, I don't. Not
Oh,
today.
okay, cool.
No, I'm chilling with the fam today. I'm telling my girl to cook some breakfast right now.
Yeah. Home favorite for the Heat as well. They've gone over in two straight. Look at their defense. Actually, been struggling since the All Star break. They gave up over double digits. The team total. Man, I like that look on the over as well. That's a good look.
Hmm
Check Jazz non-conference for the
I kind of
total.
worry about the Jazz though. Can they score enough here? If they run out of gas,
I
I
mean,
kind of
like
feel
if you
like
think
the
about
Heat.
it, like if
Feel like
Miami,
Heat team.
so Miami could just. I feel like Miami is one of those teams that if they feel like they can score just outscore their opponent, they're not gonna
Hmm
focus on the defense.
No, that's a good point. What you think
Uh,
about Heat team total over?
that makes a lot of sense too. That makes a lot of
Make a
sense
ton,
too.
make a
I don't think,
ton of
like you
sense.
said, I feel even if the Jazz do cover, that means the Heat has to be outscoring them. If the Jazz cover, it's not because they're playing defense.
Yeah,
That's a
no, that's
fact.
a fact. I just
So
don't like how they only scored 103. I mean, most of the games on this road trip, but the first one, this is the only bad one. They only scored 103 versus OKC, but all the rest of them, 119 in the next game, 116 versus the Mavs, which the Mavs weren't playing any defense in that game. But
mhm.
then when you 131 versus Orlando, 119 versus Charlotte, it's I don't know.
Yeah,
I think the overall hit. I just feel like Heat, like we're talking about, we liking the Heat in this spot, possibly at least
yeah,
early. And I feel like the Heat is one of those, like you used to say, we just take the Heat team total over in this
yeah,
one. That's just
yeah. I
what I
think
would
that
look.
makes sense. Whether they cover or not, the Jazz is probably going to push them up and over. So that first quarter on the Heat, and
Mhm.
then the full game team total over on the Heat as well. So then
I
that
like it.
means we're not focusing on that on the spread for the full game just in case Jazz get the backdoor cover. That makes a lot of sense.
Hmm
All right,
I
so
like it.
that's a good look. Let's go to fuck man, I forgot to do my banners and shit. I was so busy doing that video clip. God dang it.
This guy, you're late to do the show and shit, man.
Oh god. Hey, that was fun though. I mean, that's the thing. When we have our shows. Obviously, I want to be professional about it, but at the same time, man, we gotta have fun when we do this stuff because
Facts. People gonna
yeah,
love that.
yeah.
They're gonna love that.
What about? I don't want to mess with Indiana, Detroit. What else? What else do
Please
we
don't. Please don't talk about that game.
have? All right. So there's one game here on the Suns and the Warriors. Um, Suns and Warriors here. I was actually looking towards the under and also possibly to the Warriors side. Did you have any look on that game?
Yeah, I would like to lean to the Warriors. Everybody in my chat telling me that they think that this is going to be a Suns type of game. I don't think so. I know the Suns coming off a loss, but you got to look. I mean, they could own the Warriors this year. They've beaten them 3 straight times, but that's one thing I need to get back to. Moving off. I like that. We might have to talk about that next, but there's one thing I have to get back to is like the revenge spots weren't really hidden in the regular season or like up to this point, but now we're to that point where you're getting to the third or fourth matchup of the season. This is when
Mhm.
the revenge spots really have the peak motivation. Warriors have lost all 3 matchups versus the Suns this year, and they don't have a game tomorrow. The Suns have a game tomorrow versus the same
The
team
Bucks.
that they had
Yeah.
just lost the championship to. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm only looking towards the Warriors in this one. I do say, I mean, I could see the Suns coming out with something. This is what the Warriors do, bro. Sometimes you have to follow the patterns. They don't come out hot the first quarter, first half, man, for whatever reason. They try to it's like they go into halftime, make their adjustments. They come out smoking hot in the third quarter every single game, and then that propels them to a full game cover most of the time. But it's not usually early. So I say that because sometimes you can find better lines with the Warriors in game. That could happen here. We know the Suns are no pushover, but I still feel I have it in the back of my mind that they have revenge tomorrow versus the Bucks. So I feel like this will be a Warriors type of game, and then maybe the Suns tomorrow versus the Bucks. That's just how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, this is what you mentioned. Like later in the season, those regular season matchups where they've faced each other multiple times already, and
Mm-hmm.
one team has basically dominated the matchup. It's
Mm-hmm.
about time where that revenge kind of takes place. I think the line changes a little bit. The motivation of playing the same team multiple times also changes a little bit. So this query here, is basically what you mentioned. So what I brought up was season greater than or equal to 2020. And if the team beat and cover the same team 3 times already in during the season, 0-8 straight up, 0-8 against the spread. That says to play the Warriors today. Um, you can see that full game margin here of 14 points. I'm not sure if the Warriors do win by double digits, but I think historically, just like what you mentioned, later in the season, playing the same team multiple times and being dominated in that specific way, they got to come out with some sense of urgency here. Warriors also already in that part of the in that mode as far as closing out the season with the sense of urgency, being in the position they are in the Western Conference. So I think they play hard today, and that's gonna bode well for them, especially with them being at home, because we already know the home road splits for the Warriors, right? So if we go to them here,
Trash on the road, boy.
yeah, exactly.
Did
We can,
not back
so
the wet Warriors on the
if
road.
we take them at home, that's the spot for the Warriors. You've seen that they've won and covered how many straight here? 7 straight here. They've gone under also in 5 of the last 6. This one would have went under if it wasn't for OT. So a lot of things to me are really just pointing towards the Warriors and the under. I wouldn't be able to talk anyone off of the Suns team total under as well if you want to look in that direction. Because if the Warriors do take care of business today, the Suns could shut it down early, because since they do have the first leg of back-to-back games, they got the Bucks on deck tomorrow. If the Warriors can get a strong start here, I could see the Suns shutting it down early. So yeah, this one, Warriors full game under, Suns team total under would be the only ways that I look.
It went down 4 points too, Ronald. So that's good. Looks like the total pros, they hopped on this under immediately.
There's still some room too on that 236, because if you where the fuck is my stuff? If you look at them at home, you're already seeing where is it? Home favorite and total greater than or equal to 230. I think it's just home. Yeah, home. So Warriors at home with a total of 230 or greater, they're averaging around 230, and we're seeing 236. So I think there's still room there. And if you go to the Sun side,
Oh, I forgot to mention something.
yeah, go ahead.
I forgot something. Green did sprain his ankle last game. That was one thing had me hesitate. I still Warriors are nothing for me here, but I remember he left the game last game, sprained his ankle. He said he's not 100%. He says that is sore or whatever, but he did say he's going to play in this game. But he might not be. If Green is in the 100%, that could be a factor in this game. That is something I forgot.
Munaf in the chat, 11-1 straight up, 9-3 against the spread, 7-4-1 to the under when the Warriors are at home versus a team with a winning record. So that also supports Warriors the under. What's up, Chris?
Oh, here we go.
There you go, trifecta. Yeah, so everything really pointing in that direction. Not only just from a team trend perspective, but just even league wide trends. Like I mentioned earlier, that one that goes back to 2020. I think that's a strong look. I do want to get there with the Warriors in some way, and possibly even the under. I still think there's room there. Chris, before we move on to the next game, anything on this one?
Yo, what up, RC? What up, Jay?
What's up, my brother?
Yeah, RC under. We talk about this trend all the time. After All-Star this season, after All-Star break, road dogs, conference games, first leg of a back-to-back, 10-2 to the under. Got to be a smash spot. Golden State was a letdown. RC, I remember doing your show earlier this year. It was the game where the Suns didn't have anybody in. The Warriors, it was that. You remember that, Jay? They
I
got
just looked
smashed.
at it. They was getting 12 and a half, bro. Like, how?
And they got smashed in that spot. Suns couldn't miss. Then they went to Denver, and we made our money back the next day, RC. I don't know if you remember that spot or not, but I vividly remember that spot. So yeah, I like that. I like the under in this game today. I also lean Warriors as well. Road dogs that's playing on the first leg of back-to-back since the All-Star break. They don't do well. You can see it right there, just 5-6. And you think about the triple revenge for the Suns in this spot, for Golden State in this spot. It's got to be Warriors or nothing.
Facts.
I like it. Even if we look at just the totals at 230 or greater, these higher totals, the faster paced games, all going under. That makes it even stronger to look to the under. Like I said, I think there's still room, even though the total has gone down from 239 or whatever the open was. I think 236, there's still room for the under if you haven't taken it yet. All right, let's move on to another game here. I think you guys want to talk about the Celtics, right? Celtics. Oh,
I want to. I'm right there with Moonoff. I feel like team total overs for Celtics is money in this game.
I mean, obviously the Rockets defensively they've been struggling here. So if we go, they're on the road, right? Are they playing in Houston? Yeah, they are. If we just look at Celtics on the road as double-digit favorites. Well, so overs in general, but it's mainly because of their opponent. Yeah, what the hell is going on here? They lost.
I see this is not a motivational spot. This is a spot where they typically don't come out motivated flat. I had the Thunder in that game and they got smashed against the Thunder, and that was without SGA. One thing I look at, RC, look at the Boston Celtics covering in this spot. If you go back to 2020, just look at the Celtics versus the Rockets in general. And I'm not saying I'm laying 13, but I did find it interesting that this team plays so well just against the Rockets in general.
I don't know. Man, a lot of double-digit spreads too.
Based on what you see, RC, don't it look like they kind of come out flat in the beginning of the game and then they pick it up as the game goes on?
Yeah, but if we go back to the current season, right? Let's just say, even without the road, seems like it's the opposite. Like they start off strong in the first half and then fade, especially in that fourth quarter.
That's home though, right? What have you added away?
Away is only 2 games. That's why I added home and the road. A little bit of the same. I mean, the first quarter might be the way to go there.
First quarter team total. Stay away from that spread, just in case the Rockets.
I feel like we gotta take this Thunder game away, man. Like this don't make any sense.
I know the Celtics have went over this team total in 4 of the last 5 games in the first quarter, first half. If I'm not mistaken. That's what I was looking at last night.
This is a key player missing type of game because they didn't have SGA and they got smashed. Thunder smashed them without SGA. That's one of those obvious. No, fuck that. I don't know what to do with this one. I don't know if I'm gonna play any. Did you guys play anything on this game?
I'm only looking at Celtics first quarter, first half. Like I'm right there with Munaf. I look at Celtics trifecta team totals here. I wouldn't mess with the spread. They should blow them out. Rockets seem like they've been playing a little bit more feistier lately, but I mean the Celtics offensively are top tier. We know this, right? No real look ahead as well. I mean, they got the Timberwolves on deck. So I mean, it's not the biggest game. It's still a Western Conference team. I'm only looking at Celtics to score here. I know they can score with ease, so that's the only thing I would look at. First quarter, first half, full game. Also, I do think that first quarter, first half would be the top looks though on the team totals for Celtics here. But yeah, that Bucks Kings, I think that's a real intriguing game there for sure.
Rockets. So Rockets post All-Star break dead last in defensive rating. So that bodes well for the Celtics team total.
Could be a live betting spot too. I agree with everything Jay just said. You look at 3-point defense. The Rockets got one of the worst 3-point defenses. What the Celtics want to do? All they want to do is stand around, share the ball, drive, kick, penetrate. Knock it. Get it to the wide open shooter. So Clarkson just got ruled out too in that Heat game. But yeah, that's the only way I would look to. I would look, and it could be a live betting spot. Even if the Rockets do come out with something early, I watched this team score 2 points in the last 6 minutes against Chicago Bulls the other day. You talk about take a game away, boy. They look terrible against the Bulls. So they'll run out of offense even if they do come out with something. Just kind of, especially if you're watching, you can live bet this one.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're just looking at the 3-point props, look at where all the Celtics are: Tatum, Smart, Brown, White. All in great matchup, basically 30, 30, 30, 29. And that's pretty much why their overs are higher too. Like Tatum's at 3.5 already. I don't even know if they're juiced, but I mean, it goes to show how bad the Houston Rockets 3-point defense is. Yeah, I don't know if I could touch this one just because of how large the spread is, but it makes sense. Celtics team total, possibly early at best, right? Do they have a look ahead?
No, they got the Timberwolves.
No, it just got the
tomorrow.
There's no first to back-to-back.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, they might just fuck around and just cover anyways.
Come on, accident versus the Rockets.
Yeah, they can cover on accident, exactly. So yeah, team total overs for the Celtics makes a lot of sense. Maybe early at best, or would be better. All right, let's move on to someone wanted to talk about the Bucks. Was it Bucks Kings? Bucks Kings. Let's go to that one. What's the line at now? So this one got up all the way up to 244 and a half. The spread sticking around -2 since this morning that I saw. Jay, you have anything on this one? Did you like anything here?
Man, I'd still like to fade the Kings. Hadn't been working out well for me. So I'm not going to tell, like on the show, I was like real brief with this game. I don't even want to speak anything of fading the Kings, but I still think, I mean, the Bucks have owned them. They're 10-0 straight up last 10 versus the Kings. So I'm saying, we know, I still firm believer that this Kings defense isn't good. Now, their offense has been beating, so it doesn't matter about defense. So I might just start looking at team totals to fade the Kings in that one, where you don't really want to fade them on the spread, but you want to do it. You know, I'm still not a believer in their defense. Man, I know Kessler Edwards come over there kind of being stifling or whatever, but like I say, I feel like the Bucks can win this game, and I think they might rest some guys tomorrow. But obviously, it'd be nice to see if Giannis could come in here and play. We know on the other side, though, Kings, when you lose 10 straight versus a team, you want to get that win, man. So the Kings are hot right now. Kind of worried about a letdown off the Big Suns win within the division, but it's a tough game, man. So I don't want to fade the Kings right now. They've been taking my money lately.
Yeah, I would lean towards the Kings too, but the uglier play is the under. I mean, like most people are just gonna look towards the over automatically, but the total is really high here. And I looked at a few things here. Bucks right on the road on the first leg of back-to-back games. I'm staying away from the spread just because, like I said, I do like the Kings. I lean towards the Kings in this spot as the home dogs, but the under is 4-0 in this spot. And if you can see how low the combined score is here, their defense shows up. Their offense also takes a hit too. If you look at their home road splits, they score less on the road than they do at home. If you look on the Kings side, we just look at them as home dogs, right? They're 5-2 against the spread. And then if you look at the totals where the total is greater than or equal to 230, it's only a 4-game sample size, 2-1-1 to the under. It's pretty tight as far as like how high the combined score is. But this one went over because it went into OT. They scored like 30-something points in OT between the Kings and the Mavericks. I would only look towards the under in this high total. I know the Kings unders, I believe in general, have not been hitting. Okay, so they've been going over in the last few. But if you look at these high totals, right, total of 240 or greater. The last few, they went over in 5 of the last 6. And then obviously they went over against the Suns here. So it seems like they're trending in the direction of under, right? There are a lot of overs with the 240 or greater to start the season, and going back the opposite way here. They've kept their opponents under their team total in 7 straight. So I don't know, man. Like playoff atmosphere type game, you would think the under. Chris, do you have anything on this one?
I played the Bucks.
I watched the show.
Yeah, I played the Bucks when I saw it open at a half a point last night. I played the money line -115. For me, this one, you know, I know the Kings have been hot. They've been a lot hotter than a lot of us have thought that they would be, but they haven't run into a team like this Milwaukee Bucks team, in my estimation. I see they've been beating teams. So I thought about this the other day. The Kings they went to Sacramento, they went to Phoenix and beat the Phoenix Suns on Saturday night, but they beat them without KD, right? So you caught this Phoenix Suns team pretty vulnerable. They didn't have, not only do you not have KD, but you ain't have any of the things that you traded, any of the pieces that you traded KD away for either. You ain't have Mikal Bridges, you ain't have Cam Johnson. When I look at this Bucks team, RC, so I've been using this website called Cleaning the Glass. I know it's something that Punch School always talks about.
Uses, yeah.
So what you can do is you can go in and you can look at opponents. You can look at teams when they played opponents in the top 10 in offense, and their opponent is bottom 10 in defense, which we know the Kings are, right? They're best offense, one of the worst defenses. The Bucks have a plus 12.8 points per 100 possessions differential, which is only second behind Boston on the whole season. So to me, that tells me that when they play these games, their defense is second in effective field goal percentage, and their points per 100 possessions for the opponent is bottom second. So what that tells me is to take the better defensive team in this spot, and the Bucks gonna win this game. And I don't even care if Giannis play. Honestly, I think they get it done without Giannis because I think they lose tomorrow against the Suns. But I do think that they get up for this game. I think they've been watching and seeing how good the Kings have been playing. Also, you get the added motivation just losing the game that they probably should have won if Steph Curry don't go bananas the other day against in Golden State.
Do you have when you looked at cleaning the glass, did it have like a like an average total combined score?
No, it don't give you the totals. I see it give you the offense, it give you the points per possession, it give you the effective field goal percentage, which the Bucks are 13th. It gives you an offensive turnover percentage, a rebounding turnover percentage, which the Sacramento Kings are about dead last in rebounds. And we know Brook Lopez gonna come. He gonna be out there playing defense. He's trying to get defensive player of the year in his contract year. And then it gives you their defense. And the Bucks, when they play against teams that have a top 10 offense and a bottom 10 defense, they're pretty much top 2 in every statistical category. So they play well defensively, right? And offensively, like I said, they're plus 2 as well. So they play well when they play against really elite offenses. And this is all on the road too.
I like it. I mean, that bodes well for the under as well too, right? If you don't want to take the spread, it would seem like the under would be the play.
I worry about the under though, RC, just because I ain't been taking no unders, and the Kings that hit their team total, RC, every single game since the All-Star break. They averaging 132 points per game if you just look at Kings post All-Star break. Now, granted, that's 170 points against the Clippers, but I think am I right? They've hit their team total every single game, right?
Yeah.
Averaging 132 points. So I'm scared because they play at such a fast pace. I don't want to take an under, but I don't think that they have when the game comes down to it, and I got to depend on the team to get a stop. Give me Jrue Holiday, give me Brook Lopez over Sabonis playing with one hand, and anybody else that the Kings can throw out there on defensive end.
That was one thing I was going to say, Chris. They hadn't played a defensive squad like the Bucks as well, especially with actual paint protection, with actual guys on the perimeter that's trying to play defense, man. So you make some good points here. Kings also hadn't really been beating these top-tier teams as well. 1-7 against the spread last 8 games versus teams with greater than 60% win percentage as well, man. So they struggle versus the top teams. Bucks 9-1 ATS last 10 road games, 6-1 last 7 after a straight-up loss as well. So the Bucks usually do typically bounce back in this spot as well.
That's a good point.
I'd like to take Bucks early here. I think full game, sometimes the Kings can really ratchet things up in the second half. I'm scared that they've lost 10 straight. On one end, you could say that the Bucks own them. On the other end, the Kings want to finally get over that hump as well. So I know they turned up for this one, but I got to look at these interviews, Chris. They had just put out some interviews about like from practice today, De'Aaron Fox and Harrison Barnes talking about this game. So I need to see what they're mentioning there. Hopefully it's some about defense, but this could be like a playoff style type of game, in my opinion. I think 244 here. I know the Kings are ballers, but the Bucks are going to try to slow this game down at least a little bit, in my opinion. So I would still lean to the under there, Ronald, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just those playoff atmosphere type games, and a lot of this. I mean, at some point, they're not. It seems like they're not going to crumble, Jay, like we thought they were. As far as like being offensively, I think it has to do with like how consistent they are as far as being healthy, right? They're all these teams. They have load management games. Everyone's always injured. Someone's missing. They don't have consistency with their rotation. The Kings have had that, and I think that's one thing that bodes well for them as far as why their offense works, right? It just they know where they're going to be at. They're not missing anything. But the Bucks defense is just is top notch, and I think that's going to be one of the bigger reasons why this one, to me, hopefully stays under. But definitely talks me off of the Kings more than because I initially was leaning towards the Kings, but definitely talks me off of that. But I would say 244.5 is they both have to play a perfect game, and I think it might just get ugly.
I like that under, bro. This is one where north of 240 where I actually think this under gonna come through mainly for the Bucks in this one. We know they're gonna bring the defense. And if the Kings, like I say, it's a tough. I feel like if Giannis plays, that tells us everything we need to know. That means the Bucks are taking this game serious. Like Chris said, I mean they're looking at what the Kings are doing. If he doesn't play, I don't know, bro. If he doesn't play, I must say I wouldn't be surprised if the Kings finally got off over that hump. But it's just a tough game. I don't want to. I'm not going to bet Kings games right now. I'm just going to watch them a little bit more, find the perfect spot to fade them. And I don't think the perfect spot to fade them is at the house. For whatever, I mean, they got a playoff style atmosphere at the house. See, it's sold out crowd every night for the Sacramento. They're feeding off their energy as well.
Trying to like that beam, Jay.
Yeah, no, I'm watching. I'm like, all right, these motherfuckers balling right now. I really thought they were going to revert back to it. And it's probably going to happen in the playoffs. So I mean. I know Kings fans, they don't like me or whatever, but this team's probably getting put out in the first round of the playoffs. I don't give a damn what nobody says. Their defense will get hunted in the playoffs. All that's just not going to work, my guys. So they'll make it.
The defense is going to hurt them later on when it matters the most, for sure.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt them tonight because they ain't ran into the Bucks yet.
Nah, that's a fact right there.
They ain't ran into nothing close to the Bucks yet.
And the Bucks defend the 3-point as well, right? Because the Kings like to shoot a lot of threes. So the Bucks, they play tight on your ass. I'm talking about the whole way. It's not gonna be in there lackadaisical defense here. You don't have Chris Paul going on the other end, Chris, like you said. You're gonna have Drew Holiday in your face the whole time. And Fox is still a little banged up as well, just hadn't really showed. But Fox is still a little banged up with a hamstring and a left wrist injury. It's his shooting hand.
Yeah, Bucks post All-Star break. 7th in defending the threes as far as 3-point percentage. So you're right on that one as well. Yeah, I think so. It makes sense to me. I mean, for me, I'm still going to look towards the under. I know it's ugly. I think a lot of people are going to take the over, just pace of play, offensive efficiency. But I think this is going to be an ugly game. And I think Bucks are probably going to control this game as well as far as pace of play. And also just on the defensive side of the ball. I think they're going to put some pressure on them.
I got to dip out, RC. Baby down there crying, man. But
yeah. You want before you cut out, do you want to drop your last words as far as
man? Hopefully Kyrie plays, man. Kyrie, as soon as he's in, you got to be quick with it. But first quarter, first half for the Mavs. Really, if he doesn't play, I still like it. But ESPN game, Mavs here at the house, they got to turn up. I think the Mavs bounce back here. They just showed us, even without their 2 stars, they can hang with this team. Grizzlies on the road, I want no parts of them here. So Dylan Brooks, he's going to be the one getting heckled in the crowd tonight. Hopefully Kyrie plays, but I want to get there with Mavs first quarter, first half, and that way, my guys. That would be my top looks of the day.
Did you still like that first quarter on the Heat?
Yeah, I still like it. I know my guy Chris liking the Jazz, but yeah. Just look at this, Chris. Jazz, they stay in Utah. They got a day off in Miami. I think them boys, somebody went to go party, my guys. I feel like strong. I mean, why wouldn't you? You live in fucking you can't even party in Utah. I don't think they got booze, none of that shit out there. So they turning up after those couple of wins. I see huge letdown spot for the Jazz. They could get it done full game, but to start this one, I do think Heat first quarter and first half is the looks there, Ronald. First quarter is at -2.5. I gotta hop on Heat first quarter -2.5.
I think I'm gonna get there. Chris missed the first part of the show, but we broke that down as far as the Heat first quarter, and then also maybe the Jazz coming back live. So the Jazz live would be the way.
I agree with that, RC. I do agree with that take. Me and Jay talked about this off air a couple weeks ago. I think it was last weekend. Jay fading the Jazz in the first half. They one of the worst. If you go to NBA.com, RC, they got one of the worst offensive ratings in the first quarter, first half. For post All-Star game. Like they just don't. They typically play better in the second half. And the Heat coming off that overtime loss in a game where they probably felt like they just overlooked the Orlando Magic because it was the Orlando Magic. I'm pretty sure they come out with something early, and you don't got Clarkson. THT not going for another triple-double. That was some Luka type performance the other day. So I would agree with the first quarter, first half. I just don't know if the Heat hold on to be able to cover the full game.
Yes.
Last thing,
AJ. Oh, go ahead.
Last thing, RC. The thing that I'm looking at for tomorrow, guys, Knicks early, often. That's what I'm looking at. I can't wait for this line to come out. That's something that I'll be likely on pretty heavily tomorrow. Knicks first quarter, first half. Should be a trifecta spot for the Knicks tomorrow. Fading the Blazers, come back home off a long road trip. They've probably quit on the season, as you can tell. that excruciating loss looks like it held a whole lot of weight, my guys. Let me just put it that way. So probably fading the Blazers for the rest of the season. We're buying the Knicks, get a road win to end off their road trip. Blazers are horrible coming home off a road trip, guys. So that's what I'll leave you guys with. I like that better than any game today. I'll be heavy on the Knicks tomorrow, man. I'll holler at you, Chris, Ronald. Holler at y'all, man. Let's get this cash. I gotta go eat some breakfast. Take care of the baby, my guys.
Absolutely.
Right,
do your thing, Jay.
Yeah, my guys. It's all love.
All right, that's I messed up the I fucked up because I didn't have the banners ready. But what game were we just talking about?
Suns.
We just finished Kings Bucks.
Kings Bucks. Yeah.
We talked about. Oh my god, I hate not having my banners up. All right, so we talked about Memphis, Dallas, Utah, Miami, a little bit of Boston, Houston, Phoenix, Golden State, Milwaukee, Sac. All right, so it's Minnesota and Atlanta, and then Indiana and Detroit. Did you have anything on either of those?
Indiana, Detroit, nah.
No?
That's a bad game, dude. That's a real bad spot. Let me see what I had. Yeah, I don't even think I put notes in for that game. It's just too much going on injury wise. The Atlanta game is interesting though. I see it's a very conflicting game. You know, we talk about boxing. You always talk about styles making fights, right? So in a game like this, you got a top 5 offense with a bottom 5 defense versus a bottom 5 offense and a bottom 5 defense. So I mean a top 5 defense. So these two teams kind of conflict each other, which is why I think we see such a high total because Atlanta's at home. I can't lay the 5.5. See, I know that the Timberwolves they don't play well in Atlanta. But just because of their defensive rating, it's so bad, I can't lay 5.5. I can't trust the team to cover by margin, by multiple possessions at the end of the game, especially with Anthony Edwards being back home. One thing I looked at, RC, was so Hawks' third game in 4 nights and their 4th and 6th. They're the worst defensive rating over the last 5 games, 6th in offensive rating. Hawks are 5-1 straight up and 4-2 against the spread as a home favorite off a previous road loss. Then I got a league-wide trend as well, RC. So look at this. So I got home favorites playing their 4th game in 6 nights. And I did it the way you always do it. Just rest plus previous rest plus previous rest equals, should be what, 3, right?
Is it 3 or 2?
Is it 2?
I think it's 2.
Might be 2.
Is that it?
Let's see. All right, so
so third and 4 nights is 1. So this would be
2, right?
4th and 6th, I think. 4th and 6th nights is 2.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So home favorites playing their 4th game in 6 nights, in which their opponent is more rested. Are 33-14 straight up, 28-18 against the spread.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Those home favorites have to. Those home favorites having to cover by 6 or more are 18-11 straight up, and against the spread, 62%, 19-9-1 to the under. Is that what I got?
More than 6? Favored by more than 6?
By 6 or less.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So there's some support towards the under. I think the total's a tad bit too high. I think the Timberwolves, off a couple days rest coming off the overtime game, they probably come in here and play defense. I think this trend kind of bows towards the home team, but I can't lay it though. RC, what are your thoughts on this one?
I was leaning towards the Hawks here. Here's another league-wide trend for the current season as well. So this is a fade spot, right? So rest greater than opponent rest, right? Yeah, rest greater than opponent rest, road dog. So it's almost the opposite of what you had. So road dog. Let's just make it so that it's the same as yours. Oops. All right, so I made it so that we're looking at home favorites again. So home favorites, less rested than their opponent. Now we're looking at non-divisional, and then the line is greater than 3, so they're favored by more than 3 points. 34-15-1 against the spread, 69%, 69.4% ATS, 40-10 straight up. Average full game margin 10.1. That says to take the Hawks tonight.
Jeez, that's solid, LC. I didn't play it, but it just feels like Atlanta defense is just so bad. Rudy Gobert is listed as questionable. I mean, Rudy Gobert is listed as questionable in this one.
Their offense is clicking, and also we have Gobert who's questionable tonight, right?
If he's out, I think the line probably If he's out, I think the line probably goes up a little bit. Would you still like it as much, or would you play?
I think so. I think the pace of play would benefit the Hawks more than the Wolves, right? If it's pace up, the Wolves don't typically pace up play, right?
No, absolutely, you're right.
Well,
I mean, their pace on there is fine, but like you're right though. They much rather play a slow pace game. Nobody wants to get into a running gun with the Atlanta Hawks at home. So
exactly.
So I agree with you there.
As far as the total, it does. I mean, average combined, towards the under. But like you said, I think that the pace of play might be faster. I think that the Hawks are going to control it. I just feel like this is a spot here where aren't the Hawks streaking a little bit? I mean, like I feel like they're playing a lot better.
They have been playing better. Remember they beat the Wizards twice last week, but then they lost to Boston on the second leg of that back-to-back. But yeah, they have been playing well. They should have won one of those games against Miami, but they couldn't play any defense, letting Miami score 117 and 130.
Yeah.
So yeah, they look at the points they're giving up though. And the Celtics won, you kind of take it, you take it with a grain of salt because it was on the second leg of a back-to-back. And that was a 3rd and 4 as well, I think, for them, right? No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was, right? Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, it was, yeah. So it kind of makes sense that the Celtics went over their team total. Actually, it was on the under in that game, flew over the total.
I mean, so they second leg of back-to-back here, second leg of back-to-back here, 2 L's. They got 2 in. They beat the Wizards twice. This one here, back-to-back, they did end up covering. That was a tight game. That was a close game. I feel like the Heat had a chance to win that one outright.
You mean the Hawks had the chance to win that one?
I'm sorry, the Hawks.
No, they did. They did. Yeah, they did. They folded in the second half.
Yeah, I think I do want to get there with the Hawks, dude. Like I just feel like this is a spot for them to take care of business against the Wolves. Oh God. I mean, so if we look at them at home, 115.3. Man, their defense really
is a lot better at home.
It's not even a lot better at home. It's just their defense it makes it seem like they're a lot better just because of who they have on the squad, right? Because Gobert and stuff, but they're giving up a lot of points. If we look at them as road dogs, they're giving up 120 per game. I feel like that's a lot for any team that's considered, defensive minded.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm probably not playing this one. I see too much conflicting stuff for me. I don't like the Timberwolves ATS as a away dog. They're 9-12, and I think if you add that as non-conference, there's something like that's when their defense gets even worse. I see is when they're non-conference and they're road dogs as well.
Yeah,
I think they're 5-0 to the over in that spot is what I had looked at. So I don't like their defense. I also don't like Atlanta defense either. So.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. They failed to cover in 4 straight.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good call out there.
Yeah, they also just don't play well against Atlanta. They don't play well in Atlanta. Like Atlanta typically owns them.
For what we just say, Hawks team total over?
You could get there if you really don't think that that they're gonna play any defense. Because then you don't care if the Timberwolves so happen to outscore them. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that could be it. I see it could be Atlanta team total over.
All right, I'll look into that one a little bit more. I think Hawks team total over is a good look. All right, well, I think we went through pretty much every game except for Pacers Pistons. I don't think we need to worry about that one. Just the fact that so many people's missed. Like, there's nothing to. It's hard to cap that game. All right, well, that's it. I think that is it as far as the game goes. Shout out to Jay for popping in here earlier, dropping some information. He did like the Mavs first quarter and first half if Kyrie plays. Other than that, a strong lean towards the Heat first quarter as well there. Chris, what do you want to drop for as far as officials?
Bucks. See, like I said, I got them last night when they were -0.5. I just took the money line, so I like the Bucks today to knock off the Kings, just because Kings haven't played against a defensive-minded team like the Bucks. Bucks coming off a loss, overtime loss in Golden State in the game they probably felt like they should have won. And then I like that under that we talked about earlier as well. I see Golden State versus, I think I like their under, Golden State and Phoenix a little bit better than I like the Bucks and the Kings under. But I do like that under. I talked about the trend, road dogs on the first leg of a back-to-back in conference games post All-Star break being what I think it was 8-2, 7-2 to the under. So I think Phoenix got to save a little bit for tomorrow. They probably looking ahead for that game. I also like Golden State minus the 4.5. But I didn't play either one of those. Probably gonna get to the window with both. But I did play the Bucks officially minus the half a point tonight.
All right. So just one official today, huh?
Just one official. I see you trying to take it light, man. I don't really like the slate too much. I had a strong, Sunday was gross too, but I had a strong lean towards the Jazz plus the 7.5 as well. Just I don't think the Miami Heat gonna cover such a big number today. I think that they win the game, but I see the Jazz kind of picking it up in the second half. Even though they're on the second leg of even though they're on the 6th game of that road trip, I had a query for that as well. But I didn't play that one officially. Just talked about it on my morning show earlier.
All right. For me, I do like that the Suns Warriors game under. I still think there's room at the 236. If you can get 236.5, I would say take it. I think it's going to continue to go down. The other thing too, so these are all some leans that I haven't placed a bet yet on. I do think that the Hawks can take care of business against the Wolves. Possibly look towards the team total over for them instead if you don't trust the 5.5 number. The Mavs and Grizzlies game, I like the over in that game. 224.5 is what it's at right now. I think that's going to continue to go up. Jazz and Miami, I do like Miami first quarter on the spread there. I'm probably going to stay away from the full game spread at 8.5 or 8, whatever it is right now. Probably not going to mess with that. Probably a lean towards the over as well. I think Miami's not going to focus in on any defense in this game just because they know they could beat them by just outscoring them. Boston, Houston, I don't know if I'm going to mess with that game at all. Phoenix, Golden State, I already talked about the under that I'm going to be playing, but I also, if you want to pivot, maybe look towards the Phoenix Suns team total under, or I also like the Warriors to cover in this game 4.5. Maybe a live spot. I think one thing to look at is the second half for the Golden State Warriors. Obviously, we know how the Warriors do in third quarters. I think Phoenix also has that look ahead spot to the Bucks, so maybe taking the Warriors late. Second half, depending on what the score is at halftime. And then the full game under on that Bucks Kings game, I think is also a look. I think if it continues to go up to like 245, 246 or whatever it might be, I'm going to take a stab at that under. I think it's just going to get too high. I think they both have to play perfect games basically to get over that number. And for the most part, I'm going to take my chance on the under when you get a total that high. That's it. Man, a lot of stuff, a lot of leans there, but like I said, Phoenix Suns, Golden State Warriors, the under full game is probably the only official for now that I would say. Man, any last words, Chris, before we cut out?
Nah, dude. Like you said, it's a lot to like, RC. Not a lot that you might want to put your money on today, though, because it does seem like it's a tricky card today. So always, if that's the case, I always encourage people just to, manage their units appropriately. You never have to go all out. We got more NBA. Today's just Monday. We got more NBA tomorrow. Yeah. Wednesday. So just manage your units appropriately, man. That's all I got for you, RC. Best of luck to everybody today.
All right. Yeah. Like I said, this is the end of the show here. Always got to end like this, whether you fade us or follow us. It is on you guys to make that call. Good luck with all your action. Till next time. Peace.